All right, great. Well, thank you for coming to today's class. Today, I'm going to show you how to create buyer tours within Moxi Present. And have any of you guys created a buyer tour before in Moxi, or is this going to be kind of your first time doing that?
First time.
First time? Okay, great. And I just realized I'm not sharing my screen, which would be very important. Okay, there we go. That's what I needed. So these are really cool interactive buyer tours. It's honestly one of my favorite features about Moxi Present. There are a lot of really great benefits to using these tours. First of all, you can print them out and give them to your clients with a good old paper report if you'd like. But what's really great about the buyer tours is that they can be viewed virtually on your client's phone or other mobile device that they have on them that's connected to the internet. So they're able to take around this interactive, slide-based sort of presentation and guide with them on their phone as they're going from showing to showing with you. So with every buyer tour, both you and your clients can, open up your phones and go to those tours to view the details about every, property you're going to be looking at for the day. There's a built-in directions button to every single property that you can click on, and it will open up Google Maps on your phone and allow you to drive directly there from wherever you are, which is really, really great. So it makes it super easy instead of having to manually look up and type in that address. The other thing that it can do is it allows your clients to make ratings and take notes on all of the properties that they're viewing. So they can kind of give it a little star. They can write little things about it, that they like or don't like, and kind of save that for their own personal records. But after they submit those reviews, you'll actually get an email with the ratings and the notes sent to you. So you can also save that for your records and then really make all of these showings a good dynamic conversation between you and your clients when you're trying to figure out which homes you might want to pass on, or maybe you want to make an offer on these, for instance. So for our agenda today, we're going to be showing you mainly how to set up the buyer tour by using some cool little add-ons that connect to Moxi Engage if you have your contacts uploaded in there. And if you don't, then I'm going to, offer up Bethany to help you with that, and she can help you import your contacts into the Moxi Engage contact database. After you've gotten it set up, you can then also add your listings. You can just search for them by the MLS number if you know exactly where you're going, which is most likely. And even add a couple little things like what showing time you're going to be showing those listings to them. After that, you can customize the tour slides, very similar to how you customize pages in a CMA report. So it's very, very similar to that if you've used Moxi Present to create a CMA in the past. And then, of course, we're going to show you how to share that buyer tour to your clients, and then how you and your clients can interact with that buyer tour when you're on the road. So that's a really brief rundown of what we're going to be doing today. And let me go ahead and I will open up my Moxi Present. So if you don't know how to get to Moxi Present, this is where we're going to be creating the buyer tour. Everything, of course, always begins in Leverage for all of the ERA tools that we provide, such as MoxiWorks. So you'll log into Leverage, you'll search for MoxiWorks in your agent tools. And then once you do that, you'll click on Present up here at the top to be taken to the Moxi Present site. So once we're here, if you have a bunch of other presentations or CMAs you've created, you'll see them here, but we're going to go ahead and create a new one just by clicking on this Create New button up here in the top right-hand corner. So we're going to click on this button, and it's going to give us about 5 different options for different types of presentations we can create. We're going to choose this middle option that says Buyer Tour. Guide your clients from listing to listing with a detailed buyer tour experience. Very fancy. So we're going to click Continue, and then it's going to give us the option to choose a template. Right now, there is only one default buyer tour template, and we can just leave it like that. So we'll go ahead and click Continue again. And then we're going to give our presentation a name. So you can give it a name such as the name of your clients. You can add in, buyer tour. You could even, give it like a date if you want to. whatever you want to kind of remind yourself and your clients, what is this report about? So let's say I'm taking, I'll take myself on a buyer tour today. And then you'll want to leave the MLS listing sources, Northwest MLS, which should be allowed there already. And then last, but certainly not least, make sure you leave this allow notes and ratings turned on. This is what's going to give us that interactive notes and ratings feature that your clients can use with you. So definitely leave that on. That's a huge perk of the buyer tours. Click create. You're going to see a little circle kind of spinning in the middle in a second as it's generating the starting template. And then this is where we can begin to set up the buyer tour. Now, like I mentioned before, if you have added your contacts into Moxi Engage, you can now link those contacts to this presentation by using this search feature. So if I click on this search for contacts feature and type in the name of a contact that I do have in Moxi Engage, it will pull up the search results for any name or other, if that name or phrase is in their email address or something, it will pop it up. So here I am. I'm going to choose me and select me, and it's going to add me as a contact. You can add multiple people this way as well, and that way it'll be linked to all of their Moxi Engage profiles. And then that way there are some benefits. If you go into Moxi Engage, you'll actually be able to see those buyer tours and other presentations linked to their Moxi Engage profile. So that's a really cool feature that they've recently added on. Another thing that you can optionally do is add in an address to enable the INRIX drive time feature. This will allow you and your clients to see approximately how much time it takes to get from their starting location to those different destinations. So you can put in their current address to give them an idea of how long it's going to take for them to get to the showings. Or if you want to think about it in the long term, you can even add something such as their work address if they're worried about how long it's going to take to commute to this possible new home. And that way they have an idea of, oh, if I move to this place, it's going to take me 20 or 30 minutes to get to this new place. So that's a couple different ways that you can use this drive time. I'm going to pop in my home address just because maybe I want to know how long it's going to take for me to get from one of these locations to another. So I'm going to start adding in all of my details, and you'll notice that as I added it in, it automatically pulled in the right location on Google Maps for me. So you could just be doubly sure that it is the correct location before you click on set. So I'm going to click set location. There's no prompt that comes up. It just kind of automatically locks itself in after that. You can, make the tour fancy if you'd like to add in a cover photo if you want to. It's not required, so we can go ahead and click continue. And then this is where we start to search for the listings that we're going to be showing our clients. So you can use a standard area search as usual when you're looking for a property. You can pop in the exact address or city or neighborhood, and then even filter with bedrooms and bathrooms and all of those things. But what you're most likely going to be doing is you already know where you're going to be taking your clients. So you probably will already have either the exact address or the exact MLS number. So you can also just change over to search by MLS number and just paste those numbers in here. And then that way it'll show you those exact results that you're going to be adding to this showing. So I'm actually just going to go into the MLS really quickly here, unless other people would like to volunteer some listing numbers or addresses that we can set up a tour for. And then otherwise, I'll just take a quick look at what's kind of up and running right now. Let's see here. Let's take a look at the map and see what we have. I know there's many, many faster ways to be doing this. I am doing the really manual way here. So let's say, we were lucky enough to get showings at these 4 different properties here all around, Green Lake, and I guess we'll include this one over here in the U District. So let's say these are the ones that we've set up in showing time. we can go ahead and start to add these into our tour. So I've got that one. I've got this one here. And all you need to do is add a space in between the listing numbers. You don't have to add a comma or anything like that. You can if you want to, but it's not required in order to make this work. So let's say these are the 3 listings that I'm going to with my clients today. So I'm going to search for all 3 of those. It's going to find those on the map for me here. So those are the same locations that I popped in here. So once I've found the ones that I'm going to be taking my buyers on a tour with, I do want to make sure I add them to the tour. If you go to the next page without adding them, you're not going to see them and you're going to be like, well, where are they? So the key to adding them is by clicking on the pictures here with that plus sign above it. And once you click on those pictures, you'll notice that there's a green check mark that shows up on top. That's how you know that it has actually been added to the tour. So that is really, really crucial. You'll also see at the top here where it says listings, you'll see a number in a black box that should match the number of listings that you've chosen for the tour. So I've chosen 3 listings. It now says 3 on this listings page here. So once I've added all of those to the tour, I'm going to once again click continue. It's a little far down on this page because it's right below this map. So you're going to click continue down here. And this is where we can kind of organize and set up the tour a little bit better. So it's going to start, mapping out, the path from, destination number 1 to destination number 3. So this is where we can change the order to the correct order that we're going to be seeing them in. So maybe I'm actually going to be seeing, this one in number 3 first. So if I want to change the order for these, all I have to do is click on the change order button. And that's going to allow me to drag and drop them in the order that I need them to be in. So I'm going to grab number 3 just by clicking on these, 2 lines here and holding it with my mouse and then dragging it up until I get it in the right position. And then maybe number 3, that this is now number 3 is actually still going to be number 2. So now I'm kind of doing this little path here. If only tours were that convenient, right? So it's probably going to be more all around the place, but this isn't like an ideal situation. So after you've set up the order of the tour that you're doing, you're going to click on save order, and that's going to lock in that path. And then an optional thing you can do, which is really cool, is you can add in the meeting time. So if you have set things up in showing time, which most likely you have, you can, add those into here as well for your clients. So let's say we're going on a Saturday showing, and I've got, this first one set at like 10 a.m. And so you can just type in the numbers, or you can also click on the clock here and manually drag it to find the right time. So I've got the first one at 10, the next one at 11, and the last one at noon. So now we've got all of the times for all of these showings set up with these different properties. So after we've done that, we've set up the order and everything, we're going to click continue again. And this is where we kind of get to the more standard step, like when creating a CMA report, which is where you're going to customize the pages or the slides that you and your clients are going to be able to see. So you can see all of the different pages over here on the left-hand side to give you a good idea of what you and your clients will be able to see. So this way they can also look at all of the details of these different listings as they're going along. So they can kind of see side-by-side comparisons of all of the different qualities of them, a chart showing like their price versus square footage, price versus days on market. And then there's some other things here that might not be super useful, like this one here, the status comparison, which is like it will sort them by actives and pendings and solds. Obviously, you're not going to be showing them pending or sold, listings on a showing. So you can just delete this by clicking on this remove button here. So we can just click on that and it will take that page out. And then you can also edit and customize the remaining pages a little bit further by clicking on these little pencil icons next to them. So if you do that, it will give you some options for different things that you can customize. Some of the options are pretty simple, whereas some of the other ones can be a little bit more detailed. I think like side-by-side comparison, for instance, allows you to really, yeah, show and hide, everything or nothing about each listing. So this will allow you to really customize the side-by-side comparison to show exactly what your client cares about and hide what they don't care about. So after you do that and you've set it up the way you want to, you are ready to share this with your clients. You can either send it to them as a link to a digital presentation, or you can also send them a link to an attachment for a PDF so they can download and print it on their own. Or if you want, you can also just print it yourself. So if you click on view and then click on print portrait, it will generate the PDF version of this buyer tour, and then you're able to print it out on your own printer so that way you can hand it to your clients. However, as I mentioned before, I do highly recommend the digital version because then again, that allows them to open it up on their phone, take the notes and everything on their phone, have the Google Maps directions, right there. So it just makes it so much more powerful and interactive by creating the digital version. But this is, what the PDF version will look like if you wanted to have a paper copy, and that might be useful too for your own personal reference. So it will print generate all of those pages. And if you added a lot of listings, it'll create a lot of pages because it's also printing out a page for all of the photos. So like just with 3 listings, I have 24 pages. And that's just because it's set up to have a page for like every single picture. So that can get a little cumbersome if they have a lot of pictures in here. But there are ways in here, even in the paper copy, where you or your clients can leave a star rating or leave a note just by filling all that stuff in with a pen or a pencil. So that is a feature that you can use with the PDF version. But
May
go
I ask, is that if you were, I don't imagine that many people will print this off because it's so much better digitally, but if you did print it off, which page would you need to delete in order to get rid of all those pictures?
Good. Thank you for
Exactly.
asking. Yeah. So I believe it's going to be underneath this listing overview page here. If you click on edit, there's a section to show and hide the photo section. So you can just hide that right away. Or if you want to show a few photos, you can leave that on, and then you can actually use this little slide here to choose what's the maximum number of photos per listing. So if you have it all the way down to the bottom, it's a little confusing because it says none down here, but it's actually set to unlimited, which is really weird. So you can either slightly drag it up to show, 1, 2, or 3, or 8, and that's the number that will show up here on the far right-hand side. And that's how you can limit the number of photos. But otherwise, if you just want to hide them entirely, you'll just want to click on this show and it will disable it entirely. And
Okay.
yeah, like when you do that, now we've got a much slimmer PDF that's going to be generated. That's not 24 pages, but probably like 5 pages or something like that. Let's see if I guessed that right. Oh, 17 pages. Okay. So it still is a little bit, but at least it's not showing all the photos anymore.
Yeah, that's much more concise.
Much, much more concise. So yeah, but to send the digital one, you're going to click on this little send button right here to pop up basically an email. And send presentation is automatically checked. That's the link version to open it up. And if you added your client in for Moxi Engage, again, it's going to automatically pop in their contact information right here. But again, you can also, manually type in other email addresses. So if there are other people that you wanted to send this to, their spouse, their friend, all of those other things, you can type in that email address. And again, if that email address is in your Moxi Engage, it'll actually pop up all of the results here. So here are my 5 million results with my email address. So I can add that in and add in email number 2. I can add it a subject on the email, our buyer tour for today. Greeting kind of like makes a little like hello message right up at the top, and then a little message that you can add in here. Here's the link to the properties we're looking at today. And then you can have a copy sent to yourself as well for record. So that's automatically checked. So we're going to click send. And that is going to email that buyer tour to your client. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up on my phone to make this much more fun. And let me just share my screen here once I get the email. There it is. Okay. So gets sent off pretty quickly. I'm going to share my phone. And then hopefully this will work.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
What suspense.
I know. And you know what? I have another way to do this too. Okay. At least I think I do. You know, it's funny because it's like you test these out, you know, when you're offline and doing it by yourself, and it worked great. And then as soon as you try to do it, you know, in a class, then it all, you know, doesn't work at
Everything goes
all.
wrong. Yeah, I feel it.
All right, here we go. I got it. Here we go.
I have no idea how to share my phone in a Zoom, so I'm just always impressed.
I'll show you. It's actually, when it works great. Here we go. Perfect. Just takes a little bit to hook up depending on how good your Wi-Fi is, basically. But now we're connected. I'm going to open up my email here, and there's that buyer tour that I mentioned before. Can you guys see my mouse moving on it, or?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I wasn't sure. So there's that buyer tour. I'm going to open it up. Apparently it looks like spam. That's not good. It's not spam. I'll have to look into that to make sure that that doesn't pop up anymore. But there is the message here that I wrote with the greeting and the little message here, and then a link to view the buyer tour along with a preview of all those listings that we chose. And as I mentioned before, there's a directions button that's really easy to click on right there. So your buyers can just tap on the directions button here, and it will open it up right in Google Maps. So hopefully they have the Google Maps app installed. If not, it should probably open it up in a web browser for you as well. And now the directions from wherever you and your clients are to this destination is now ready to go. And all they have to do is click on the start button to start going. So that's how they can start the directions for it. If they want to look at the tour itself, they can go back to that email and then click on the View Buyer Tour button. And that'll open it up in their web browser. And our old logo is still showing up. But here's this buyer tour that we created today with all of our listings that we're showing our clients in the order that we're showing them. Your clients can click on any of these images at any time to pull up more details about each of these listings. They can scroll through all of the pictures in advance. They can look at all of the property details that are publicly available. So all of those things are ready for them to look at any time. And they can even use these arrows at the very top here to go back and forth between each listing that they're viewing. And here's that other preview of all of those different properties. Now, when they've actually, gotten to that property, this is where they can start to take notes and leave reviews on all of these listings. So when they're at a property, there are multiple places where they can click on an add review button or a star, and that will open up a ability for them to create those reviews. It's going to ask them for an email address, and this is mainly just to kind of give them a unique identity. Because if you've got multiple people on a tour together, they can each put in their own email addresses so that there are separate reviews that shows up from every single person. If everybody put in the same email address, it would maybe overwrite everybody's reviews and like clump them together, which is not what you want. And that way you also know like who left what notes. Maybe, spouse number one loved this property and spouse number two hated it. And maybe they don't want each other to see those notes. So that could be another thing too. So you'll click on unlock. The email does not have access to the presentation. That's a new one. I have not seen that before.
Did it go to your RSVP email?
It went to both. It went to my RSVP and my personal one. So that's a new one. So maybe they've added a new little security feature in here. Okay, yep. So it does have to be the email address that the email was sent to where you opened it. So you can't just put in a bogus email address and your clients can't just fill in a bogus email address. So that's good to know. Extra little validation feature, which is really good. So now that they've unlocked it and proven that they are the person who is supposed to get the email, they can now add a review just by clicking on the add review button. And this opens up that star capability with the ability to take a note. So let's say I love this listing. I'm going to give it a 5-star and, you know, write a little note on it now. And then click save. And now that review has been added in there. And they can open up this tour anytime to see all of the reviews and all of the notes that they've taken. I think if other people also leave reviews or notes on here, they'll see all of them on here. So that privacy thing that I mentioned is actually not true about like spouse number 1 loving it and spouse number 2 hating it and they don't want to see it. They're going to see it. So
That's pretty good. No secrets.
Hmm?
That's good. No secrets. Let's be
No
real.
secrets. Yeah. So, you know, your clients can then leave reviews on every single one of these listings. And after your clients leave those reviews, you as the broker are actually going to get an email with those reviews. So if I go back to my email, I should see, here we go. This person, your client, has created a review. So that's the first email that popped up here. And if I open it up, it says, you know, which property they left the review on. It shows the star rating that they gave it and also the note about it. So you'll get every single one of these in your email inbox, you know, after they've done every single one of them. And then that way you and your clients now have a lot of great little notes and reflections and details that you can use to kind of have a conversation about what's your next step. Did you love any of these properties? You know, which ones do you want to make an offer on? And so this is a great way to kind of keep records on all of those things. So that is really, in a nutshell, how to create, you know, and share and use the buyer tour to your capabilities. I went really fast through that. I'm actually like really surprised how quickly I got through that.
I think it's a sign of how simple it is, actually.
It is really simple.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of the manual details are really like customizing the report to your liking. So, but yeah, any questions about that?
Katie, when we have a multiple buyer, so can I send out for the listing to both?
Yes. Yeah,
So I don't
absolutely.
need to send out each one by each once just per customer, right? Like for example, it's a husband and wife. So when I send all the listing, those kind of tour to them,
Yeah.
I
So
can.
yeah, go
Oh
ahead.
yeah. You show on the send before the send. We can have more. Yeah. Over here. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, you can type in as many email addresses as you want. So if you've got like, you know, a whole group of like 10 people coming to a listing together, you
Mm-hmm.
can put all 10 of their email addresses in here and every single one of them is going to receive a link to this buyer tour. So yeah,
Okay.
great. And then because they all get their own email, they're all going to be able to leave their own notes and reviews on those properties. So again, it's a great way to gather feedback from the people who are interested in all of those listings. So yeah, this is a really, really cool thing to do.
So for example, like today we have a 3 listing. Then we went there and on the first listing house, they put into their email address, right? So they can review all the 3 for today. Then how
Mhm,
about for tomorrow? If we have a new listing,
mhm,
gonna go 2 and
mhm,
maybe another
mhm,
2 new house listing.
mhm.
So when tomorrow when we go there, does they need to key in the email address again to
That's
get review?
a good question. Yeah, so you could do it a couple different ways. You can either set up, a unique buyer tour for every day that you're going, or you could set up a single tour. And let's say, I added in the ones here for this listing or for this tour. And let's say I added 3 more, and I can set up the meeting times for the day after and add in more for the day after. So they can all be added here. And then when you send them the link to the buyer tour, it'll just be one link for all of them. And they'll see all of the properties
Okay.
in one single tour. So that might be a better way to do it if they want to see everything all together on one presentation.
I see. I
Yeah,
see.
so they can just
Mm.
use the same link every single time if you only send them this one link for like a big master buyer tour.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. Yeah.
great question.
Usually if we didn't, if we went out this weekend and we did
Mhm.
not see anything we like, so
Mhm.
maybe for next week, and then I need before next weekend, I send
Mhm.
out a new listing to them. So they need to register, I mean, like put their email address and then to review for the
Yeah.
next one. Okay.
That's a really good idea is you can go back to this buyer tour. So let's say you've set it up for, a single day of showings and you've sent it off to your clients, and that day just was not a good day and you need to do another day of more showings. You can come back to this tour that you've already set up, and you can add in more listings after the fact. So you can add
Okay.
in the next day and then just send them the link again just to make sure they have it and they didn't accidentally delete it in their email. So, go back in here and just send it to them again. Like, hi, here's the tour link again with tomorrow's showings added. So they'll be able to see, the new stuff as well as all of the old stuff they saw as well if they wanted to go back and review those one more time. So
Oh, okay.
everything will
That's
be all
good.
together.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a really, really good idea. Love that idea.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions about this?
And
That's a
but
really creative
okay,
idea.
if for example the 3 definitely we don't want it, I can
Mhm.
delete it, right?
You could, yeah. So let's say, these 3 in here, they absolutely have no interest in
Uh-huh.
going to. You can just click on these X buttons right here just to remove.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So let's say they were all bad. You can just click on remove all, and then every single one of them will be taken out of the tour. And then you can just add in the new ones instead.
Okay. So
Yeah.
when I added a new one here, and
Mm-hmm.
then when we go there for
Mm-hmm.
the new tour, and then
Mm-hmm.
they need to put into their email address to review it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So, you add in new ones, and so let's say that, we're not going to these ones, we're going to different ones now. I'll just, do a quick search for stuff and see what's available. Oh, nothing's available. But you add in new ones, and then
Mm-hmm.
again, you want to still customize the order in which you're going to them. So you can again drag and drop them into the right
Okay.
order. And then again, if you want to customize the pages for them one more time, and then do the same thing where you send them a new link just to make sure they have the link available. So,
But
so yeah.
seems if I delete from my side, okay, but because the 3 I already sent to them this week,
Mhm.
right? And they still can see it from their email, right?
That's a good question. I think if you delete them from here, they're going to be deleted from the buyer as well. So it might be a good idea to keep them in here. So that way you have the record of it and that they visited it and that they didn't like it. So if you want to do that, but still kind of keep the new tour
Uh-huh.
cleaner, it might be a better idea just to create a separate buyer tour for them. So you would go back to the home page and then create a second buyer tour. So we've got buyer tour number 1 here. You can go ahead and create a new buyer tour, and have it be completely different with all of the different listings. And that way you have the notes and the ratings for both days in your
Okay.
records and also for their records.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
So I mean, even I sent to them in their email address. If I delete from here, they cannot see any more
Yeah, so
from their email.
I would recommend maybe not deleting them if you want to if you want to preserve those notes in the writings, don't delete them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, very good question. Because now that I've
Okay.
deleted them from this one, like if I open it up now, like they're all gone. They're gone.
Yeah.
So because they're gone,
Katie,
all of the reviews are gone.
Katie, can you check your email? Like because you already get a review, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
From your phone. So it seems you already did it from here. Does your phone you can still see from your phone?
Yeah, so if I still have that email, hold on. Screen mirroring takes so long. Let me in. Okay, there we go. So yeah, I mean, if I still have that review in my records here in the email,
Mm-hmm.
the review is still here, but if I click on view presentation,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to take me to the latest version of the presentation, which is not going to have any of the
Oh,
properties in it.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So that is where it might be a good idea to have two separate buyer tours. So that way you're
Okay.
preserving the old data
Mm-hmm.
and creating a new one with the new listings.
Okay.
Yeah, because now this one, because I updated it and I deleted those properties, they're gone. So the only record
Oh,
I have, or me and my clients, is possibly the email, as long as I didn't delete the email.
I see. All right,
Yeah.
that's good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, great question. Thanks for asking. Those are really good little details to be aware of. So
That actually kind of makes me curious if you have an old buyer tour from say a week ago and one
mhm.
of the homes that you looked at has gone pending or it's sold, will it still show up in that buyer tour as its new status or will it not be there at all?
It will still show up there. That's a great question. And I unfortunately don't have a example because I deleted it and I shouldn't have done that. Again,
Okay.
don't delete things. Deleting is a bad idea. But I created a buyer tour. I had a buyer tour that I created like over a year ago. And I opened that up just to see, what it looked like. And every single listing I put in there was still there, but they all had the new statuses in there,
Hmm.
sold, canceled, you name it. So they were all still in there, and I could pull up all of the listing data, but it's clearly on that status showing that it had been sold or canceled or whatnot. Yeah, great question. Mhm. Yeah. So, I guess you could do that if you wanted to, just to kind of show what's working and what's not for prices. But yeah,
Mm.
yeah, great question. Mhm.
Yeah, this is better than I print out because every time I print out all the listing and just the first page for the client. So I always tell them, hey, you need to write down the note, like which one you don't, what kind of function you don't like it, and we can delete, not delete, like we can just forget about this house we've been there. Take a look. So one of my client, I count it because every time I set the the listing paper, so I count like we been seeing 75 houses.
Wow, that's a
Yeah,
lot.
so
Wow.
That's a
I count
lot.
it every piece of paper. I said, wow, 75 listing.
Oh yeah, yeah. So you've got like 75, printouts
Yeah,
basically. That's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot of paper. And then you have
I
to like
know.
shuffle through all the pages to find the notes and that seems like a pain. So yeah, having something digitally like this instead seems way easier because then, basically you can have all of those presentations, like if you create lots of different buyer tours, then you'll be able just to review all of them on your Moxi Present page here.
Mm-hmm.
But you can have all of them, and then you can just kind of, click on each of them to go back to those notes to see which ones you saw and which ones they didn't like. So everything is just here instead of having a pile of papers to go through.
Yeah, yeah. So thank you today. It's really helpful, for save the trees.
Awesome. Yeah. Save the trees, save your printer ink. Yeah, and then of course making it so much easier for you to go back and look at your own clients' notes and instead of having them like remind you or give you their paper or
Mhm.
something like that. You have direct access to their notes right from your computer, which is great.
Yes,
Yeah, great question.
thank you.
Diane, did you have any questions at all or any other things you wanted me to go over again?
No, it makes total sense. Thank you. I
You're
say that
welcome.
now, but I feel like it's pretty intuitive.
Awesome. Yeah, it definitely, I sped through it and I realized that's because I've done this a lot. So
Uh-huh.
it does get easier the more you do it for sure. But yeah, the buyer tours are really simple to set up. And like I said, they're some of the most fun ones, in my opinion. I had a broker tell me that they love using this because after they're done looking at homes for the day, they're all kind of standing around with their phones out, like scrolling through all their notes together and comparing it and using that to kind of have a conversation with each other on all of the listings. So it just makes that whole process so much easier sometimes at the end of the day. So I'm really looking forward to hearing how it goes when you guys first start to use this for the first time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And of course, if you are working on your first buyer tour or second or fifth, and you still are still running into issues setting them up, feel free, of course, to reach out to me anytime. So, you all know how to get access to me on Workplace Chat. And then, of course, I've got my email and my phone number available. So I will put that in the chat right now, just in case you need it. And then that way, feel free to give me a call or send me an email at any time. And then we can kind of walk through this stuff on a one-on-one basis as well. So, and then as I mentioned too, if you wanted to kind of augment these features by adding your contacts to Moxi Engage, don't hesitate to reach out to Bethany. Sorry, Bethany, I'm giving you more work to do.
No, I think Diana and Helena both they're in our Buffini class, so they've
Fantastic.
going. Yeah, we're good.
Great.
But I'm
Awesome.
always happy to help anybody. And if anybody watching the recording, absolutely reach out.
Definitely. Cool. Well, okay. Well, I think unless we have any other questions, we can go ahead and wrap up for the day.
Thank you so much, Katie.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you,
You're
Katie.
welcome. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a
Thanks.
good rest
Talk
of
to
your
you.
day.
Okay,
Thanks.
bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.